But wait, there's more.
I don't know about you guys, but after I watched this scene and the scene that followed and shit, I was left with a burning question in my mind that I wanted to share with you guys and whatnot before I do this commentary. Well, which one was worse? Okay? Which one is worse and shit? I'll explain after that very brief jump. It's like a very old fucking movie. I think it was made or released in 1994. Director's Matty Rich, and the movie is The Inkwell. Okay? It's a coming of age story and shit. And as you can see, it's a very tragic scene. A young man gets his heart shattered and shit when he finds that his unrequited love for a woman is unreciprocated in the worst way and shit. He actually looks in her window and sees her about to have sex with looks like an older man. Okay, and he goes tearing off and shit into the. It's like 4th of July, right? So this will be my 4th of July video and shit. And keeping up with my themes, this will be my 4th of July video and shit. All right. Yeah. So this movie is called The Inkwell. This young man is Lorenz Tate. I forgot the name of his character. I think it was some shit like Dre or something. And he was into this woman, this little a girl his age, this teen girl his age, for most of the movie's running time and shit. He proceeded to go on a campaign to win her heart. And as you can see, that shit didn't work out because, well, well, I'll put it this way: the young girl that he's in love with is played by a very young Jada Pinkett Smith. Jada Pinkett Smith, man. I'm sorry, just the irony, right? And the parallels between this fucking movie and her actual real life and her history of actually doing shit like that, like ripping, fucking dudes over, fucking ripping guys' hearts out and shit. More than one, not just Will. Ripping a couple other hearts out too and shit. And her unrequited love for Tupac, who, we don't know if he really knew she existed or not. We had some pictures of him giving her flowers and shit like that. Like that was a friendly thing. He was a socially conscious gentleman when he wasn't doing, studio gangster shit. All right? Yeah, it's real sad, man. I'm watching this shit, man. That shit'll get you, man. Anybody's ever had their heart broken or had some unrequited love, abruptly ended, you can take that as a sign from the Most High. He's showing you that this woman was for the streets and shit, okay? The streets or the streets, as I like to say. Future, thank you for that fucking, thank you for that meme, all right? But ironic you would put it out, shit, since you were Pookie. Oh my God. Yeah, you watch that shit. It's just heartbreaking. It's heartrending. Watching this kid look in that window and see Jada Pinkett, a young Jada Pinkett with some cake. It's actual cake and shit. Going at it with some dude, man, like a older version of Darius Macarius or something. I watched this shit, man. You know what's messed up about it? Not only does he get his heart broken and shit and ripped out his chest, he tears off running through the town like he's seen a monster or something. Like he's just horrified and shit. His whole world has crashed down on him and shit. And he goes tearing off, you know, he goes tearing off through the town, and he runs onto like the beach because I think it's the Hamptons in the '70s, and he goes tearing off like a monster chasing him. Like Freddy Krueger's on his ass or something. And he runs on this beach and he's sobbing, and he's still got I think the little wilted flowers. And he runs into this. There's like an older woman that lived in, that was there too. This woman was having trouble with a husband, who was unfaithful. It's Morris Chestnut and AJ Johnson from House Party and shit. They play like an older but much younger couple than the rest of the adults in the movie, and they have marital problems because he can't keep the shit in his pants. I'm surprised it wasn't. I didn't know if it was him banging Jada Pinkett too. I don't know. He might have been hitting that shit too. I don't know. I just laughed my ass off. But it's one of the stories in the movie and shit that as the movie unfurls, this coming of age movie, and he he runs into her. He's out there on the beach. He's crying. He got his wilted little flowers. His ass, his emotional ass, has a boot all up in it and shit, heart ripped and shit. And one of the things that was really messed up when he peeped in the window, it was wrong of him to look in the window and shit, but he didn't know what he was going to see. He was sitting there waiting for her to come home so he could give her these flowers and shit. And he peeped in that window, but like if you rewind the clip and look at the clip, Jada Pinkett, I'm sorry, I'm calling the character's called Lauren. All right, Lauren sees him looking in the window, and she looks shocked for an instant, and then she just accepts it. She just looks at him like she's like, "Hey, check it out," you know. It's the character being naturally malevolent and hypergamous. He didn't measure up to the guy that she was finna have sex with in her eyes and shit. Okay, and she was also a snooty, um, a snooty kind of rich girl too. On top of it, he was just a poor guy visiting the area. His uncle was like had all the money, and his parents were like, blue collar and shit, low middle class. So that plays into it, but mostly she was just a bitch. Lauren, the character Lauren is a reprehensible bitch, but she did, he shouldn't have been looking in the fucking window and shit. And he got what he was looking for and shit. It's like that, if be careful what you wish for, you might get it and shit. And the worst thing that could have happened to this boy would have been that they slept together. He was a virgin. Imagine if he had given his virginity to this woman, his innocence to this woman, and then found this out. It'd be much worse and shit. But it turned out to be much worse, in my opinion, much later and shit after this happened, because he runs to the beach and he's out there, he's all fucked up, crying and he runs into the older woman, the AJ Johnson character, who may or may not be in like her early 30s in the movie or whatever. That's the character's age. He runs into her, and they end up having sex, and I thought that was wrong. I didn't think that this character should have had sex with he was supposed to be 15 years old, so she was twice his age, and they had sex, right? And I don't, I just don't condone that shit, especially in this day and age. We have a lot of this Me Too shit, and women, feminists calling, men just natural reaction to women, calling it, code words, Bill, blue check code words like the male gaze and some other shit, oppressive staring, just the bullshit, right? So I'm looking at this video and shit, and I feel like, he got his heart broken and shit, his whole mindset fucked off, and then he runs into a woman who takes his innocence away because she's going through something emotionally and shit. Now we're supposed to reconcile that and shit, or if you're young and dumb and shit, you're an idiot and shit. You think, well, at least look, he still got some pussy anyway, so everything turned out okay and shit. And it was very hazy and shit. They did kind of play it that way, like, that she put a band-aid on his pain and shit by having sex with him and shit. But I didn't look at it that way. I looked at it as an older woman sexually exploiting a young man and shit, for our own needs, emotional, period, or otherwise, or all together collectively. I think it was wrong and shit. And I think the director, maybe he thought of something like that, because right after they have sex, they show them holding one another, and then he pulls down her dress and whatnot. You see her bra. You see them from the side, and it's real artfully done and everything. And it kind of fades away, and the kid wakes up. Lawrence Tate wakes up on the beach. Um, he wakes up. He's laying prone. He wakes up laying prone, and he sits up and he looks down, and one of his he's in his underwear from the waist down, but one of his pants leg is off to the side, so you kind of know that like she took over. She just kind of did the cowgirl thing on him, you know. But she left him out there. She left him out in the middle of nowhere, and he's like confused and everything. He just sits up, and I think they had made a fire or something. But she had sex with him, partially unclothed probably, and rolled him, and then got up and left him laying like that with one pants leg on. She didn't bother to put his fucking pants leg on or nothing. She left him like that, laid out, and no doubt anything could have happened to him on that fucking beach. She didn't give a fuck because her feelings was hurt and shit. She's just as bad as Lauren. Uh, she's just as bad as the Lauren character, maybe a little less so. And he gets up and he's looking all disheveled now. Now he's a man. She's made him a man. He's had a taste of forbidden fruit. And he walks off and he looks for her and he finds her. She's wrapped in a shawl overlooking the ocean at her in front of her home. And he walks and she does this. She like nods her head or she makes some kind of gesture towards him, like, "Oh, don't come near." You know, just nods at him like that was a one time thing. And he accepts it and walks off. And then his father sees him coming home, looking that way, and he knows instantly what happened. I think the mother does too, but she leaves it up to the father, which is a suspension of disbelief, as we well know in our ethnic community, which is matriarchal and shit. Okay, that he didn't get his ass beaten with an iron cord and yelled at by a sapphire shit, and then the father joined him in getting a beating. I thought it was so shitty, man. I felt so bad for Lawrence Tate. He's the victim of the movie and shit to me, more than AJ Johnson's character and shit, because she made a bad decision and she took his virginity and shit. He was young and confused, and she was going through some shit, and it just doesn't matter. It's still pederism and shit, okay? Still pederism, all right? Now, if nobody believes me, look how he woke up in the morning. You know, she left with fucking pants down, pants on one leg, legs spread out. Laying flat on his back, looking up at the universe. And woke up. Imagine how that's gonna play out in his life and his relationships, like because of what happened when he looked in the window and he saw Lauren getting her cheeks clapped, and then he got his cheeks clapped and shit by an older woman who took control, used him like a fucking toy, and then left him there with his pants down all throughout the rest of the night and shit, and didn't give a fuck. Didn't try to wake him up and send him on his way or nothing. Pretty shitty, right? So, since that happened on the 4th of July, I decided to make that my 4th of July commentary. Hope you enjoy. Please do me the honor of giving me give me a like and shit. Maybe subscribe. I can use some more subscribers and shit. Anyway, you know how to do it and shit. Protect your bag. Protect your bags. Protect your tangibles and shit. Keep your head on the swivel because it's really dangerous out there. And above all else, protect your seed and protect your future because, you gotta be careful you get any legacy to it. You can end up with a Lauren or, AJ Johnson's character and shit. SYSBM equals save yourself, black man.
Bitch, you sugar free a crash dummy. I ain't the smartest motherfucker in the world, but you just another bitch that need gas money. And this is some news you can use. Bitch, a million motherfuckers wanna be in my shoes. Bitch, I'm a legend in these streets. The better kind. How many of y'all niggas know where y'all bitch at right now? Never mind. Believe everything that bitch tell you, huh? Don't lie to splurge. Boyfriend, pimpin', nigga, shit, what is it? Mine or hers? Mobe then. Your average nigga break his neck to go to your house. Have I ever been there? Okay then. What I'ma give a bitch a pass for? Spent all that time in school and got a job that ain't got nothing to do with you with your class for. Here goes some real sugar-free tough in there. If the bitch got a gang of play cousins and play brothers, they fucking her. Sugar-free to pee. Look like the game hurt. If the bitch got 2 or 3 phones, she either a hoe or a brain surgeon. How to write the book, motherfucker. I just read what was in the motherfucker.
This message has been paid for by the Dusties. Yes, the niggas you love to hate.